And now, Elliot Maras, broadcasting live from AAPEX.
Hello and welcome to the Professional Tool and Equipment News live broadcast from the floor of AAPEX 2012 in the PTEN Tool and Equipment Lounge, booth 1061. I'm Elliot Maras, the editor of PTEN and editor of Vehicle Service Pros.
And hi, I'm Sarah Shellstrom, the publisher of VehicleServicePros.com, the official website for Professional Tool and Equipment News, Professional Distributor, and Fleet Maintenance magazines. This is going to be our last broadcast live from the AAPEX show. We're really excited to have been here and been able to bring all of the show news to those of you that couldn't make it out to Las Vegas this year. We want to thank the sponsors who made this possible. That's Launch Tech and Mayhew. So thank you to those guys. Elliot, what do you got in store for us today?
Oh, we got a whole lineup of various interesting personalities to talk about what opportunities are hot in the aftermarket business today. Joining me now is Jeremiah Terry, who works in sales for Phoenix Systems. We're going to talk about the brake service opportunity for repair shops. Jeremiah, welcome.
It's good to be with you, Elliot.
Okay.
Appreciate you having me.
Historically, general repair shops did not do a whole lot in the area of brake service and brake repair. Jeremiah, let me just start by asking you, why has it always been such a specialty in the past?
As far as brake repair goes?
Yes.
Well, you know, it's a touchy situation when you're getting into the person's brakes. You don't want to cause a problem that could cause an accident, so it is a real specialty repair. I know a lot of garages are getting more into it and they want to get into the braking system, help the customer, but I think it's more, they're a little bit afraid of it. They just want to make sure they don't risk the safety of the customer.
Okay. Now, if a general repair shop wants to get into brake repair, what kind of tools do they need?
You know, if you're going to get into brake repair, you need obviously the necessary tools to take care of the caliper and to put your brake pads on. But the reason why I'm here, if you want to get into it, is more on the preventative maintenance side.
Okay.
So let's say you want to be able to do some brake flushes. You're going to need a power flush machine, a brake exchange fluid machine is what they call it. That's the first step. You're going to need a scan tool to make sure you do it properly. You don't want to hurt anybody's ABS system. But the last thing you're going to need would be our product here. These are brake fluid testing strips. And what we're testing for is actually copper inside of the brake fluid. Copper is coming from the steel lines, and I don't know if everybody knows out there, but you've got a steel brake line, it's actually like a coiled spring. And because it's coiled and then pushed together, they use copper to fill in the grooves. And what's happening over time is that brake fluid, it's getting heated, especially in ABS systems where you've got a tight tolerance. And when it gets heated, cooled, the inhibitors are breaking down. When we lose these inhibitors, we're actually starting to see corrosion in the brake fluid. And that's what this test is for right here. You can see, I did bring a test strip with me. This is our brand new product. We're testing for copper. You can see this brake fluid I tested, you're hitting 200 parts per million. That's not a good thing, Elliot. That means that your iron is actually starting to corrode. And if there's iron corrosion, we all know that's not a good thing and we need to replace the fluid. Here's the new part of the product. Not only do you get to test for copper, you also get to find out what type of brake fluid do I have. You know, my vehicle was meant to have .4 and I showed up and I have .3. It's not a good thing either. We need to change that brake fluid. So these are our products. This is new technology. We created this technology to meet the Motorist Assurance Program guidelines, and it does, so you can rest assured it's a great product.
Okay, and speaking of copper, some of you might have read in the news that the states of California and Washington have limited the amount of copper allowed in brake pads. Jeremiah, is this related in any way to the copper issue that you were talking about?
You know, Elliot, I have had a question. I've had a few people stop by the booth who've said, you know, is there some correlation? And there is no correlation. The copper that California is talking about is inside the actual brake pad. They're having problems where the copper is falling off the brake pad. it goes down the storm drain, and it's getting in the water. So it's a little bit different, and if you don't know about it, make sure you do read about it if you're in California and understand it.
Okay, and tell me, Jeremiah, what does an independent repair shop stand to gain by encouraging customers to maintain their brake systems?
Obviously, you're going to maintain the loyalty of your customer. You want to make sure they're safe. You don't want them out on the road. You know, and I was recently talking to an engineer for Land Rover, and he showed me some videos of a road that they have over in Europe in the Alps. And I mean, these roads are just, they're like the kind you'd find in Colorado. And that's how they test their brake fluid. But you don't want to be going down a hill like that and have bad brake fluid, bad brakes, and be in an emergency situation. Now, a shop's also going to benefit, of course, because they're going to be able to make more money with our product. There are millions of cars on the road. Out of those millions of cars, 50% of them are going to fail this test. Out of that 50%, we call it show and tell. And you show the customer, you teach them what this is all about, and 50% of them are going to opt to get that brake flush service done.
Well, with consumers holding on to their cars longer than ever today, there's certainly a growing concern and opportunity here for the aftermarket industry, right, Jeremiah?
Absolutely. There's a lot of growth, and I talk to a lot of different companies, and if you're wondering, well, hey, should I try this out in my shop? I can tell you a quick story if that's okay. We had one shop gave us a call and they said, hey, I'm ready. I want to order 2 of these tubes right now. I need them. And we said, well, you know, what happened? How'd you get to this point? He said, well, I borrowed 15 of these little strips from my friend. He said, out of those 15 strips, I made $500 in brake flush service sales. And he said, I'm ready to order my first 2 tubes. And there's definitely a lot of money to gain. I'm very passionate about it. I believe in it. If you are having any problems at all in your shop, you're wondering, should I test for moisture? Should I test for copper? I can tell you right now, if you want to meet the guidelines of the Motorist Assurance Program, if you want to have something that's real, that's legitimate, test for copper.
Okay. Jeremiah, thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely, Elliot. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Just hold this.
Next, we're going to be speaking with Steve Jenson from Ingersoll Rand. Steve is here to talk to us about lithium batteries. Steve, thank you for coming.
Hey, thank you very much. Nice to see you.
Okay. Steve, why should the aftermarket industry be concerned about lithium batteries?
Well, the industry should be concerned about lithium-ion batteries as pertains to power tools, which is the portfolio of products I manage for Ingersoll Rand, because it's the latest evolution of the technology for powering a portable cordless tool. The runtime advantages, the power density, and power delivery advantages far outweigh anything that we were able to have in the past. And that allows us to develop tools that do more work for a longer time for professional technicians.
Okay. And lithium-ion batteries are becoming a bigger factor in the automotive industry in general, and other areas too, correct?
That's correct. Yes, they are.
In parts?
In parts, sure, as well as, I mean, I don't know, we could talk about a number of different topics, but one big one in today's news is electric vehicles. And I think from a power tool perspective, we'll be beneficiaries of those technological developments as the market matures and the technology matures for powering vehicles. The power tool aspect of that for battery operated power tools will benefit.
Okay. Is there some benefit to the consumer in lithium-ion batteries as they relate to power tools?
Absolutely. Primarily in the areas of lightweight, so under the general umbrella of ergonomics. You're able to house more power, to do more work in a lighter package with lithium-ion battery than previously with NiCad or with nickel metal hydride battery packs. And so it's a productivity gain, both in terms of the amount of work to be done and the amount of energy it takes to do the work.
Okay. Tell me, what does it take to recharge a lithium-ion battery?
Well, it varies by manufacturer's product. Each battery is designed to work with a specific battery charger. We've developed a battery charging platform and batteries that work together with our power tools. And so it's a charger base that gets plugged into a wall outlet that has to interface with the batteries themselves. It's fairly straightforward. Put the battery on the charger.
Is this one of the more dynamic technologies in power tools today?
I would say without question it's one of the more dynamic technologies in power tools today. It's enabling us to develop tools that are much more powerful, that aren't over what we call a weight threshold. So if we can take weight out of the battery and add performance, then to a certain degree we can put more features or more power into the tool itself and still not have a total package that crosses the too heavy line.
Okay. And what is the difference in the lifespan between the lithium-ion battery and the traditional lead-acid battery?
Well, lead-acid is probably a little bit out of my field of expertise in terms of a car battery. From the point of view of a power tool battery, on the order of 40% greater, maybe 2 to 1.
Wow, that's quite a difference. And that translates into an economic benefit to the operator and to the service shop and to the consumer, correct?
Yes, it does. It does. It certainly should. Typically, the acquisition price or the entry cost is higher for lithium-ion than it is for a nickel-cad system or a nickel metal hydride, but the replacement frequency is less, and that also helps keep, it keeps more batteries out of landfills for longer or out of a recycling bin for longer because they're in service for a longer time.
Oh, so there's an environmental benefit as well.
In that respect, yes. Because they last longer and they live longer, they're not needing to be recycled sooner.
Right. I would assume there's a cost difference?
Yes, there is, and it's coming down. And lithium-ion typically is more expensive than a nickel-cadmium system for a battery-operated tool. It's really hard to typify what that delta is. Everybody's tools cost different.
Okay. All right, Steve, is there anything else you might want to mention about lithium-ion batteries in relation to the power tools?
It's not even really the wave of the future anymore. It's the wave of now. I haven't seen, as a student of the industry, any current new tool, new product development with anything other than lithium-ion for power tools for the last 3 years easy. So embrace it. It's here. It has lots of benefits.
And do you think someday it will be the dominant power source in hand tools?
It's becoming that quickly now, yes.
Okay. All right. Steve, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Now we are going to have a message from our industry partners.
Join the Airvolution. GuardAir is a world-class manufacturer of pneumatic-powered tools used for industrial cleaning and maintenance, including safety air guns, siphon guns, gun vacs, and pneumatic accessories. All products are designed with an overriding emphasis on operator comfort, protection, safety, and to meet OSHA standards. GuardAir products are designed, manufactured, assembled, tested, packaged, and shipped from our state-of-the-art facility in Chicopee, Massachusetts. We invite you to explore our website at guardaircorp.com to learn how GuardAir tools can meet your industrial cleaning needs, and you will feel the difference.
Okay, we are now sitting with Doug Schluter, who is with iCar, an educational company, and we're here to talk about linking technical training to shop ROI, return on investment. Doug, welcome.
Elliot, it's great to be here. How you doing? I'm Doug.
Very good. I understand your company has done a very interesting study, but before I get into that, I want to just give our audience an overview. Tell us a little bit about iCar.
Well, it's the inter-industry conference on auto collision repair, and iCar's been around for over 30 years, and I would say for the most part, we train auto collision technicians in the collision repair industry.
Okay, and how do you do this, by classes or?
Yeah, mostly live classes. We have live classes, we have online classes, we have some virtual classes, so a wide format of training.
Now what particular areas do the shops improve in?
Well, I mean, we focused on there's so many different metrics that you can focus on, but we focused on CSI.
CSI is?
Basically customer service index.
Okay.
And cycle time and touch time.
Cycle time and touch time.
Right, those were the three that we focused on.
Can you explain cycle time and touch time?
Well, in simple terms, cycle time is how fast a car can go through a shop. I wreck my car and it goes to the shop, and how long is it in there? Is it in there for 6 days or 10 days? And obviously the incentive is if the shop is truly lean and efficient and everything's in place, the car's going to go through there very fast. And so that would be the definition of cycle time. Now touch time is really just how many times a collision repair technician touches a vehicle. So those were the three measurements.
And what was the change?
Well, I would say, I mean, the change ranged anywhere from 5% to 45% on each of those three measurements.
Okay. So is the end result a increase in sales or what?
Well, the end result is good for the ultimate consumer, which if I'm Doug Schluter and I wreck my car and I go to the body shop and I get my car back faster, and not only that, I get my car back fixed correctly. So there's just, everybody's happy. The end customer is happy, the body shop's happy because they're processing cars in an efficient manner, and really all aspects, even the insurance segment of the market is happy too, because the best practices took place.
Okay. And how many automotive shop customers does your company work with in a year normally?
Well, right. What we have is we have a 4100 gold class. So gold class is the ultimate as far as if everybody's doing 100% of their training, they would be gold class. There's well over 10,000 shops that are going through iCar training right now. So there's two primary segments with iCar, and that's the collision repair segment and that's the insurance segment.
Okay. What kind of time commitment does this mean for a shop?
You know, each one of these classes, in rough terms, what we're talking about is about a 4-hour commitment. So, and it's broken down in roles. I mean, it can be a significant amount of training. You know, it really all depends on the shop. You have shops that might only have 3 technicians in there compared to some shops have 25 technicians. So, you know, many hours of training. So when a shop is a gold class business, they've invested a lot of time.
Okay. Have you made any attempt to measure employee morale through these classes?
That's an excellent point, because what we found out in the study is this, it's one thing to have a focus on knowledge and how that improves a KPI, but if you don't have the right kind of culture in a shop, if you don't have a learning organizational culture, you're going to be really hard pressed to change your KPIs in a positive way over a long period of time. You might hit the mark briefly, but if you don't have that positive culture in your business, you're right on the mark here. It just falls off in a big time afterwards.
And is this report, or this study that you did, is it available in any form to the average person who might want to get a hold of it?
Yeah, there is significant press releases on this. For example, my boss, Jeff Peavy, has done plenty of interviews, plus there's been some press releases. Most likely, if you go to Google and just type in iCar KPI study, you're going to get plenty of hits. And of course, iCar.com, there's a press release segment on iCar.com that has the study on there too.
Okay. All right. Well, Doug, I think we're coming to the end of our time. Is there anything else you think that our listeners ought to know about iCar at this point?
You know, one thing I left out at the very beginning is iCar is a not-for-profit. So again, 30 years ago when iCar was created, it was created by the industry for the industry, and it's just a not-for-profit industry entity doing good for the industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doug, thank you for being with
Elliot,
us.
thank you very much. All right. Take care.
All right, next we are going to be speaking with Danny Sanchez, who operates a company called Autoshop Solutions. And Danny is an expert in the area of internet marketing and social media marketing. Danny, welcome.
Elliot, thank you very much for having me, yeah.
Danny, the first question I have for you is, how does a internet social media marketing expert come up with a company name like Autoshop Solutions?
Well, funny enough, that's my background. I've been in the auto industry now for 24 years, and our company is dedicated to just helping people in the industry, just the automotive industry. And we wanted the name that we could brand ourselves as a company who could help them with their internet marketing.
So, did you start out as a shop owner yourself?
I started as a shop owner. Actually, the shop still exists. It's in Laguna Niguel, California, a place that my dad started actually in 1971, and my brother and I took over in the 90s. And actually, I've been out of the shop environment now for 10 years. The shop is there, we're just the property owners now.
How did you go from being a shop owner to somebody who's so knowledgeable about internet marketing and social media marketing?
Well, besides the automotive industry, one of my passions and my education is actually in computer science. So I'm one of those guys with the propellers on his head all the time. And I started building websites actually 14 years ago. Built one for the shop, and then through industry relationships, built one for another shop and another shop. And to this day, actually, our company still has one client that's been with us now for 13 years.
Okay. Marketing involves many different avenues, many different tools. Where does the internet fall on the pecking order in terms of marketing power?
Well, the internet has certainly replaced every other media as being the most powerful option for driving traffic. When it comes to acquisition and being able to bring in new people, there's no area that has a larger possibility for touching or reaching or getting people who are looking for the type of resources. And really, when it comes to the internet, it's not just a matter of having a place, but it's also a matter of being in the right place at the right time. And it's allowed companies that would normally not be able to afford the branding opportunity to reach out through social media and have themselves branded in the community, which something would be left to companies like Napa and CarQuest and people who had larger budgets. Now the little guy has the opportunity to have a community presence and brand himself. And the internet really allows you to do that. And that's something that the Yellow Pages and other tools really never allowed us to do.
Okay. Now, I think a lot of our listeners are probably familiar with social media as a personal communication tool,
right.
Things like Facebook and Twitter.
Sure.
Have some automotive shops actually been able to use this tool to build their businesses?
So social media is one of the most misunderstood pieces of the internet puzzle right at the moment. There's been a lot of companies who have tried to get onto the social space and really have had a hard time trying to find their feet underneath them. Most companies who have tried and left really have gone into it for the wrong purpose. Social media is not an opportunity to do traditional marketing in the way we've done it in years past. Social media marketing is really a branding opportunity. It's a community outreach. And unfortunately, as an automotive industry, we're just not that interesting. So being social like Britney Spears does isn't going to create that same kind of fan base, but you can still reach out and touch people in the community. Much like we tell people, if you're going to sponsor a soccer team, you're going to sponsor a little league team, you can't put the picture up on the wall anymore. Now you need to show up. You need to be on the field, and you need to show the team support, take pictures, and then use that as a social media opportunity and post that on your Facebook. Let the community know through social media outlets that you're supportive, not just hang the pictures on the wall.
So to use social media in a business, is that a matter of getting your customers emails and then periodically sending them tweets and messages?
Well, you certainly can reach out to people in that way, but social media, the power in social media is actually reaching people that you don't already have access to. Communicating to your current clientele is an opportunity to continue reaching out. Is for top of mind awareness, and of course you need to do that. But the real power in social media is to be able to touch customers that you already have and have them share information that you have with their friends and giving you a branding opportunity across channels and people that you wouldn't normally have access to.
Okay. Now what kind of a message might you use that you could have people hope that your customers would then pass on to other people? What kind of a message?
Well, and that's the real challenge in social media, is what kind of information can I put out there that people might appreciate or latch onto. And of course, the first thing that comes to our mind is, well, we should talk about the latest in brake pads, or we should talk about the latest in paint technology. Well, customers are really not all that interested in that. However, what they do appreciate is tips how to maintain their car, things to make their lives a little bit easier. But I can tell you, actually, one of the most popular posts that we've helped our clients put together right around the holidays is a great recipe for sugar cookies. And those type of things get passed along more than anything else.
Wow.
So and the thing is your brand goes along with those recipes, and even though nothing to do with our industry, it's something that people are likely to share that's outside the industry, and it shows that you have a more personal touch than anything else. And like I said, things that go on in the communities, if there's a fire department doing a pancake breakfast, that's the kind of thing to push through your social media, and you're touching people in the industry and touching people outside the industry and getting your customers to share that information. And of course your brand goes along with it, and that's the power in social media.
So you do need to go beyond your role as a business person.
Yes, and touch the community. And the other things that are missed opportunities are also communicating and integrating with other businesses that are in the community, other like-minded people. It could be a dry cleaner, it could be the florist. Giving away a bouquet of flowers, having a florist donate the flowers, you give them away to your people by sharing and getting him involved, so you can help him promote his business, and he's promoting you as well. So it's a matter of supporting all the people around you too, and that makes a community.
Danny, this has been a fascinating interview, and I really hate to have to end it, but this is the time constraint we live under. But boy, this has been a great interview, and I'm glad you're here. Just let people, give people an idea how they can get in touch with you if they want some help.
Well, you can certainly visit our website. It's autoshopsolutions.com. We're based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and one of the things that we feel very strongly about is we do everything in-house, Elliot. We don't send anything out of country, out of state. So the work that they're getting is all done here in the country. Matter of fact, out of North Carolina. But visit our website and certainly come to visit us at that booth over on SEMA if you're here on the floor. We'd love the opportunity to see you. We're here for another couple days.
Danny, thank you.
Thank you, Elliot. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now it's time for Wrench and Roger.
Wrench and Roger here. I'm with Ed Lipscomb, project manager of the OTC Genesis Touch.
Hello.
And Brian Fuller.
Yes.
So how about you show us how this Genesis Touch works?
Will do. So Ed is the tech expert on the Genesis Touch. I'm just an enthusiast. I've seen him run, but it is a really cool tool. One of the big things that we've talked about a little bit is, scan tools. Originally, there's this little ugly box, just like all computers. They become more friendly, and every time one comes out, every year, they're a little more friendly to use.
Yes.
They have a little more features. It takes less steps to get from A to B, and that's what the Genesis Touch does compared. It's just
very much.
It just keeps evolving every year. It's not actually out. This is still a prototype, and it'll be out in about 6 months. We're thinking beginning of 2013-ish, sometime in 2013.
First of the year to when it's ready.
When it's ready.
When it's ready.
When it's ready.
Yes.
So why don't we go ahead and run them through it a little bit.
All right. So what we have here is the new Genesis Touch wireless. It is a wireless PC tablet.
Even though we wired it.
Even though we wired it for the show, we got the screen up here. We're not wired to the DCL. We're wireless over here to the VCI.
It's hard to see. It's hard to see in that little.
Well, I know. So
anyway,
the other thing that we did is, and a unique part of it is the user interface. One of the things that we've found with user groups, etc. Everybody's using smartphones these days. That's not a shock. That's not a stunning statement, but they're very used to this kind of a layout. Simple screens, not a lot of screens, not a lot of menus. We need to get her done, right? Also, they're used to, if this were messages, that would be saying I've got 5 text messages. Well, there is a problem when you have a lot of repair information in here, and that's finding it, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So what we do is 2 things. We have Auto Detect, which we're going to show you, which automatically searches on the tool and off the tool on the internet for repair solutions to your problem. And then we tell you that we found 5, or we tell you that we found 300. 5! Okay? So Brian, let's read some DTCs, okay?
All right, so let's get in and see what we've got. We've already done a test case.
Yes.
So we pulled a plug in our Aveo here so we can show you some of what's going on.
Right.
So now it's gonna load.
I guess we should say though, it is, exactly, that we are actually hooked to a car here. It is a 2008 Chevy Vale, right? And on this one, we did a little sleuthing and a little bug fixing there.
That was fast.
Yeah, what Brian did was Brian saw that there was 5 experience-based repair solutions for this particular DTC, and they're ordered in order of priority and frequency. This is the Identifix Direct Hit database. And of Code Assist alone, there's about 7 million different specific solutions. These 7 million. These 5 are specific to this particular solution.
I want one of those.
However, Brian, Direct Hit below that, we didn't stop at on tool. We also searched the internet in the background. Now remember, as a technician, I didn't do anything. All I did was read codes. And we went off the tool and on the tool searching. So in this case for Direct Hit, notice, I put in my username and password. The tool did. I told it was a 2008 Chevy AVO, easy for me to say, 1.6 liter. And I also gave it the code, and we did a search.
Now, normally you would have to manually do all this.
Oh yeah.
Which would take a lot of time.
Yep.
And one of the beautiful features of this is it already knows what car you're working on, it already knows what part you're looking for, and it already knows who you are. So bam, I mean, we just saved so much time right at that point.
Yep, drilling right in on it. Now you're signed in, or in this case, I'm signed in, so I can go where I want, or I can just say, well, that's the number one solution based off of Identifix's priority and their 30 years experience. And here's the situation. Here we are, 2007 Chevy AVO, and notice these are all on this codes. The little target says these are confirmed fixes, because as we all know as mechanics, you can get a code, but there can be a lot of different failures that created that code. Well, what Identifix does is by prioritization and data mining their database to say, here is the top thing that goes wrong when you get that code, but if that's not it, we know other things can happen, and here are the other things. So you're not left out in the lurch.
The lurch.
The lurch.
Wherever the lurch is.
That's a name. Okay? Now, so Brian wants to know how to test it.
How do we do it?
How do we do it?
I say play video. That's what I do.
That's what he does. Yeah, he cheats.
On the internet. Get the tech video.
Yes.
And see, it's already here.
So what Brian just launched is, if Brian didn't know how to test, in this case a MAT sensor, we will tie training videos to different codes, different components.
Or if I just forgot.
Or if you just forgot. That doesn't happen, does it?
Never.
Never.
It doesn't matter, it's already there.
Exactly. So what we're doing here now is we're showing the end user in a video simply what PIDs to pick, and then how to run a test to check, in this case, a MAP sensor. Okay? We're going to go zoom into the screen on this video. Now this is on tool, and we're going to show him how to do the test. And what you can see here is we told him snap the throttle to 2,000 RPM. We've got throttle position sensor reacting, we've got engine speed reacting, and we tell him that you should, within 3 seconds, fall within this voltage range. Everything's golden.
Nice.
So if the technician didn't know how to do that test or test that component, he does now. So he simply closes that out because he's still in the diagnostic session, and he zooms back here and he says, well, okay, I tested it, it tested good. I better take a look at the second thing that went wrong, because I tested the number one and it's great, and you know what? Still in the seat.
Well, there's so many different makes of cars too. The testing procedures are different from each one. So,
yes. Yeah.
You know, right here you can see what the standard procedure is for it, and it makes it easy.
Absolutely.
We're here with Richard Zenteno, the U.S. Director of Autoland Scientech. We're here today to talk about the process of selecting a diagnostic scan tool. But before we get into that, Richard, just give us a little bit of background about Autoland Scientech.
So, Elliot, thank you for having me here. Autoland Scientech is a automotive diagnostic system manufacturer. We've been in the industry for over 20 years. We started out with engine analyzers back in the late 80s. And with the change of scanners and OBD, onboard diagnostics, we actually went to handhelds. handheld devices. So in the early 90s, we were the first to develop an aftermarket scan tool for Mercedes-Benz that could read clear fault codes on systems like airbags on Mercedes-Benz. So from there we've evolved, progressed. Now we're able to diagnose, and the complexity in diagnostic systems and the whole industry is grown a lot, as I'm sure you're aware.
Absolutely. Well, there's no question that there's a lot of talk about diagnostic scan tools today. There are more of them out there. They are increasingly improving in their capabilities. But I'm wondering, when customers come to you and they want to learn more about what they need, how well prepared are they, how well educated are they to even make a decision like that?
So, I think that in my experience, what I've seen is that very few customers do research on buying a scan tool. It's mostly them being approached by a sales representative of some sort, whether it be a mobile jobber or a independent representative for that company. A lot of techs really don't tend to think much before they're actually purchasing a scan tool. They might have seen it working on a car, might have helped them fix a vehicle, and that's the basis for their decision to purchase a scan tool.
Okay. How hard is it for the typical shop owner who has a technical background but is essentially a shop owner, a business person? How hard is it for them to make a buying decision for a scan tool?
So a shop owner, as I think we have different scenarios. One, there are certain shops that actually purchase their own scanning devices, and then we have shops that have technicians purchasing their scanning devices. And so in many occasions we have, we'll deal with franchises that they'll have their own equipment, they'll have some type of buying process. But I think that the important question here is, what is the process that you're taking as a shop owner to ensure that you're buying a quality tool that is going to address your needs? And as a technician as well, how can you make sure that you're going to, buy a piece of equipment that really is going to pay off on the long run? So, I think the key, there are certain things that you can do to ensure that you're going to buy a tool that is going to, not only be quality, that is going to be able to help you repair the vehicle, and at the end of the day, you're going to be able to, not have to refer that vehicle out to the dealership. One thing that is a misconception in the industry is the fact that there's no one tool that is going to do everything. Although we have progressed a lot, and many scan tools out there, are able to do very reasonably good domestic coverage, European coverage, and Asian coverage, you'll still have a lack of functions. The OE tool is an OE tool, and so you will never get 100% coverage, no matter the price of that scan tool. It's always going to be an aftermarket scan tool. So the first thing you need to realize is that there's no tool that is going to do everything. If you want a tool that is going to be specific for, Ford, for example, or GM, and you work on a lot of them, the OE tool is a good solution for you. Might not be cost effective, and that's the reason why, a second reason why people, go to the aftermarket. So, but the other thing that is kind of a myth is that one scan tool can cover all the systems, regardless of what your sales representative wants to lead you to think. There's the fact that the tool can cover a lot of systems doesn't mean that it covers all the systems in that vehicle. For example, a BMW, you're talking upwards of, you know, at least 35 computers in a car. Does that mean that, you know, whatever scan tool is going to be able to cover all those modules? You know, absolutely not. A lot of scan tools you'll see fall short on, especially on body control modules and functions, you know, within the body control module because of the complexity. And a lot of times, you know, aftermarket companies like us tend to focus more on, you know, what are you needing, you know, instead of really developing the whole, you know, capabilities of the OE, because it's cost prohibitive. You know, you have to realize that having an engineering staff and developing those functions costs money and takes time. So, no aftermarket scan tool is 100%. You're not going to be able to cover all the modules. Make sure that, you know, you're buying a scan tool that is going to fit your need and understand what its core competencies are. For example, you know, Snap-on has been in the market for many years. They're very good with domestic, so is OTC. You know, there's other scan tool companies that are good with the domestic software. But you know, they fall short in the European side. They'll fall short on the Asian side a little bit. You know, so understand where the core competency is, where the benefits of that, you know, owning that scan tool is. The other thing that I would say is the tech support. You know, it's really important when you're going to buy a tool that you're going to have a tool that has tech support. You know, our company is one that we believe that you should have not only support for operating the tool, but also that you're going to be able to get help when repairing a vehicle, because at the end of the day, you're not only looking to get the fault code, but sometimes you're needing a little extra help. And what does that fault code mean? How do I take it from here? So tech support is really a key component. Another thing that has been a big misconception is that a scan tool actually fixes a car. The scan tool is an instrument to aid the technician in fixing a car. So a tech really has to get his training, you know, to be able to, and also be able to have repair information to, you know, make that a successful repair. So, you know, I would say that those are the key things that you have to look out for when you're buying a scan tool.
Okay, boy, that's a lot of good information. Hopefully everybody will pay attention and follow the suggestion. Tech support clearly is very important, but even more than that, I think, is doing your homework.
Thank you very much,
Richard,
Elliot.
thank you. Okay, well, that just about wraps up our program. A lot of good information here. There's more show to come on the show floor. Sarah?
Well, great job, Elliot. This has been a lot of fun being able to have the opportunity to be here at the AAPEX show in Las Vegas and report back to those of you at home on the show highlights and give you the latest industry news and updates. Be sure to check out vehicleservicepros.com for more information on the 2012 PTEN Innovation Award winning products. We'll have tons of other new product information coming to you straight from AAPEX to both our Facebook page as well as vehicleservicepros.com/APEX. I'm Sarah Shellstrom, the publisher of Professional Tool and Equipment News, professional distributor, and our website, vehicleservicepros.com. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Our time is up, and we thank you for yours.